This is the phone I used for 7 years, from 2014 until 2021. And I think the reason it lasted me so long has to do with the fact that I really hate cell phones. Now, because of what I'm about to do to this phone, I want to take a safety precaution and remove the battery, because lithium-ion batteries can be a fire hazard if they get damaged. Only, oh, wait. Most people I know only buy new phones as often as they do, not because they have some great new features or are so much more powerful. And yeah, the latest iPhone has an amazing camera, but is your current camera really that shit? No, people buy a new phone because the battery dies and they can't replace it. And phone companies do this on purpose so they can force you to buy a new phone. It's called planned obsolescence. And you know what? I only had my new phone for like a week or two when I noticed a big ass crack running down the back of it. I don't even remember dropping it, so it must not have taken much. And that brings me to the number 2 reason that smartphones are evil. We carry these things around with us everywhere we go. We drop them, keys rub up against them, and they're freaking expensive. So you'd expect them to be able to take some abuse. Carrying around a cell phone with you is like being bugged 24/7. When it comes to privacy and security, cell phones are your biggest threat. They're basically tracking devices that happen to have a phone app installed on them. Not only can phones be used to track and log your physical location, but we engage in lots of private conversations through voice, texts, messaging apps, and these conversations go through various cell networks, all of which are able to log and record these conversations if they want to. And we have way less control over our phones than we do our desktops or laptops. It's easy to install your own operating system on another device if you want to, but phone manufacturers make it way more difficult to customize your phone at that level. And that makes it a lot harder to guard against your phone sending data back to the manufacturer or your carrier, for diagnostic and quality purposes, of course. And phones are just computers, so they're susceptible to getting hacked and being affected by malware and spyware. Pegasus is probably the most well-known spyware. Developed by the Israeli cyber arms firm NSO Group, Pegasus can read text messages, track phone calls, collect passwords, access the phone's microphone and camera, and it can harvest data from apps that you use. Now, it's easy to think that only the police or the government would care about being able to track you, and that if you're not doing anything illegal, you don't need to care, right? Well, we've seen hackers use spyware to commit identity theft or steal credit card info, and they'll take control of devices in order to use them to commit other crimes. You might also have personal enemies like a jealous ex, or even an employer who wants to track you. Hell, even foreign nation states are hacking devices as part of mass intelligence gathering operations. So there's lots of reasons that innocent people have to care about their privacy and their security. Did I happen to mention I really hate cell phones? So the next reason might be my Asperger's syndrome talking, but I think of cell phones as a form of torture device. Think about it. It's a little noise-making machine that you feel attached to, you carry with you everywhere you go, and it bugs you at random intervals, demanding your immediate attention whenever it feels like. Whether it's an app notification, a text message, a phone call from a telemarketer, it just won't leave you alone. I strongly believe that whoever came up with the idea for push notifications should be put on trial for crimes against humanity. And yeah, you can disable or mute notifications to an extent, and I do usually keep my phone in Do Not Disturb mode because of how much they piss me off. But here's the catch. If it's not your phone taking away your will to live, it's someone else's. There's literally nothing worse in the world than trying to have a face-to-face conversation with someone while they're getting a freaking text message. And the fifth reason that I think cell phones are evil is that I feel forced to own one. If you're a student, your school might force you to use an app as your student ID card. And now governments are talking about adopting digital identification. In 2021, the Australian government passed legislation requiring you to use a cell phone to prove that you were at home during the lockdowns, and so not owning a cell phone became a crime. I've read about restaurants starting to replace their menus with apps. And to circle back to privacy for a second, there was an app a couple years ago called MoviePass that was supposed to make it cheaper to buy theater tickets, but it was tracking the physical location of its users after they left the theaters. So if I have to install an app on my phone to order from a restaurant, how do I know that app isn't tracking what I do and where I go before and after I place my order? But privacy issues aside, I don't like being tethered to a device. I have way better things to do with my life than to worry about where I left my phone, or worry about it getting stolen or damaged, or worry about being available when someone wants to call or text me whenever they feel like it. And so I dream about a life where I don't have to own a phone at all. And so I say goodbye and lay to rest this phone of mine that I had for 7 long years. I wish I could have called it my last, but despite how evil cell phones are, you just can't have a normal life in 2021 without one. Drop me a comment down below to let me know what you think. Don't forget to like and subscribe, and thanks for watching. I'll see you next time.